United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
We'll call the meeting to order, and approve the agenda. Is there any changes or additions? No, you don't have any?
So moved.
Second.
All right, got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. Okay. Approve the minutes.
There you go. Proper to me, motion to approve last week's minutes.
I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous motion carries. All right, general public concerns. Do we have anybody here for general public concerns? Okay.
Yeah, you're just kind of like hanging around here, aren't you?
Just holding me in,
All right, well, we're ahead of schedule, but do you want to go ahead and?
Yes,
All
absolutely.
right.
I'm Julie Edwards from Upper Des Moines Opportunity, Executive Director. So just here to give an annual update and then an annual request for funds.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Last year, we made a request for $12,000 and we received $10,500. We're making the same request for $12,000. Our numbers have stayed pretty steady. If you look at the second page, there's 3 years of information. The top chart is our past year from October 2022 to September 2023, and then years after that. But if you compare the top chart and the bottom chart, they're pretty much the same. Numbers vary, but you know, we were paying $88 per individual the past year, and before COVID, it was $86. So pretty much has stayed the same. Numbers have gone up and down, and Alyssa, the outreach director, and I have been looking at that. We think there's some data entry with the change of staff that we've had.
Okay.
So probably the biggest thing to note is more people are accessing the food pantry is probably the biggest thing. Otherwise, numbers just kind of vary just a little back and forth. When they come in, we've also done a better job of tracking those donations, whether they're cash donations or food donations. So that's why the cost of services has taken that jump to $58,000. We're just trying to improve our systems and do a better job of tracking where the people are, where the donations are, and what we're doing with them. Some struggles that our outreach office has had, and Alyssa has spoken to Alyssa, the economic development, the food pantry, Alyssa. And our outreach office will be going to 4 days a week, starting January 1, due to limited funding. You can see we have a lot of money run through your county, but that's all client services money. Then there's this other pool of money called general operations. That pays the employee, that pays the light bill. We don't get charged rent, thankfully, at this location, but we're still running in the red. And as an agency, as Upper Des Moines, we know our outreach offices aren't going to be making money. It's not a profit venture that we're in. But as a board, we decided that we could run $100,000 in the hole, and the corporation of Upper Des Moines Opportunity could cover that. But already for this year, we're at $130,000 in the hole at the end of October. And so we still need to finish November and December. So that's why we're making those changes.
So where are your outreach locations?
Our outreach locations are in 12 counties, but in Humboldt is just downtown.
Downtown, okay,
Yeah.
so you have other, okay.
Yep.
So it's over the whole.
Yes, one of them was already at 3 days a week. And then we took five of the lowest counties with the lowest number of clients coming in the doors down to 4 days a week.
Okay.
And we'll see what happens with that.
Okay.
Can I ask one question quickly? Where do we rank out of the total counties that you have?
Do I have that on my phone?
I didn't need to
You're in the
sidetrack.
you're in the, what do you want to see at the bottom of the top 6? I didn't bring that with me.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, so we went by clients in the door. And so if that picks up, we can always adjust. If it slows down, we may adjust again. I don't anticipate it slowing down. Those numbers look pretty steady, as you see, you know, through the years.
We have a good group of volunteers that help man
Mhm.
our no office, so would be able to have those people. Cause they don't.
Right.
Make any money on it, they're
Right.
there on a volunteer basis, so.
Right. And most of our outreach office do have some phenomenal volunteers that come every day. And I know the ones in Humboldt County almost are like employees. They ask if they can be gone a day. And they're like, "Oh, ask for a volunteer." But we do
That's
have
good.
some phenomenal ones. And so they will be informed of this change. Last week was when employees were informed after our board meeting.
Okay.
So that'll be the change. But the reason I bring up general operations is the money you give us goes to client operations, but I'm bringing it up because the public's here. If you know corporations or individuals who want to donate a lump sum of money, or maybe they want to give $100 a month and ask for it to go to general operations, then we can do that. And that money will stay in your county and it will go wherever you ask for it to go. Because when you tell it where to go, it's obligated and you can't move it.
So like. Totes for Kids or whatever, they wanna put it in that fund,
Yeah.
it has to go to that fund, and some of the counties have this huge amount of money in. Those funds that they can't pull it back out and use it in another area.
And that's called general operation?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, so if you make a donation and you want it to go to client services, just say client services. If you say Bikes for Tykes, then it goes in that pot of money and it will sit there until we spend it, which could be 10, 20 years. If that pot of money has a substantial amount in it. And some counties do. And we cannot move it. Once it's obligated, it has.
So
to
it's
stay
best to
there.
donate to general operations then?
General operations, or if you want it to go to client services for sure, then say that and we'll use it where it's needed. It might be the food pantry, it might be baby clothes for the baby room or the birthday room, something like that.
Okay,
But,
good to know.
yeah, so that's why we bring it up. Anything else? Any other questions?
You had to leave fairly early this morning.
Yes.
Lucky it wasn't foggy.
I know, I worried about that too, but. it's
Thank you
not.
very much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. You too. All right, Corey. Hey, we're on a roll, really.
Client services. Online available to client services, whatever. Yeah, it goes directly to client services. Stuff, something like that. So help the people in the state.
Yeah. Go ahead.
You ready for me?
I'm
Yeah.
ready. Hey,
So which one are we gonna tackle first? The inmate?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys had talked to me a couple times over the last couple of years about raising our fees that we charge either for inmates when they're obligated to pay us to serve time in jail or when we house inmates for other counties. I had made several phone calls and reached out to the surrounding counties and some other counties a little bit further away and kind of asked them what their general payment was. And we've been at $50 for, and it seems like $50 was the standard and has been for 20 plus years. Quite a few counties were still at 20 or 50, excuse me. But also there were some that were bumping up and going more than that. So back this spring, when we had our annual jail inspection, I talked to Delbert Longley, who's our state jail inspector, and I just told him that, we had had this discussion about raising our fees and asked him what he thought was appropriate. He said 60 to 65 seems to be kind of where a lot of the counties are landing on right now. He said some of the bigger counties with bigger facilities that maybe house like a troubled inmate or something, they might be more of that $75 or $100 a day range. But that's usually for the inmate that's really causing problems, which, requires a lot of extra attention by staff. Just a single cell where they're going back and checking on him. He told me that, because I told him that, I said I was kind of kicking around the idea of 70, and he said, well, okay, he was a little reluctant to go with 70. He would have rather see us maybe go up to 60 for a few years and let a few other counties get up to maybe start pushing that 70 envelope and then maybe go into that at some point, a few years down the road. But so anyway, I guess my recommendation after talking to the surrounding counties would be that I think 50 is obviously too low. Our jail is never going to be a moneymaker. We are, housing a lot of inmates for Webster County, and we've housed some for Pocahontas, which will eventually dry up when they get their new facility built. But right now I think we've got 4 or 5 that we're housing for Webster County. So I guess my recommendation would be to, as of January 1st, to raise our daily fee from $50 to $60 a day. And then maybe, like I said, in a few years, we could revisit, let some other counties get caught up and see where everything shuffles out. And if we want to maybe go up another $10 in a few years or something, we could revisit it at that time.
What is our capacity for it?
Our maximum capacity we can have in the jail is 14 is our most. I would say our average daily population, including what we're housing for Webster County, is probably in that 7 to 8, has been for the last couple months.
Well, that sounds very reasonable. Sounds like you did your due diligence and checked into it. If there's nothing else, I would make the motion that we do raise the inmate room and board to the $60 per day, effective January 1st, 2024. I'll second that.
Can we give a second? Any other discussion?
I have, how much do you spend on food per day?
So, per day, so we switched as of April, we were going to Hy-Vee and we switched to the hospital. They charge us $7.50 per meal, and that's lunch and supper. And then we're doing kind of a continental breakfast thing. We've been doing that for a couple of years now, where we get some muffin, like a granola bar, and we've been able to order that through the hospital. They single servings of cereal. So we don't have to, so a deputy isn't having to come in at 8 o'clock every morning and pick stuff up from the hospital. They just supply us and we keep that stuff in-house. And then in the morning, the jailers just kind of get it ready depending on how many inmates we have. So it's kind of a continental breakfast in the mornings. And then we actually $7.50 for lunch and supper. And I just approved a bill on Friday for the previous month's meals. And I think the hospital charged us $3,400 for the entire month of November for all of our meals for the whole month was what we were charging. So,
Okay.
yeah.
You got it down about as cost effective as you could get it.
Yeah, I think that was like when we switched from Hy-Vee to go to the hospital, I think it was about $1.50, because I think Hy-Vee was, I think, charging us $9 a meal. So we went down some by going to the hospital. There were some minor little advantages too, in the fact that, they're like us, there has to be somebody in there 24/7.
Yeah.
Whereas Hy-Vee, they'd close down at Thanksgiving and we were having
Nowadays,
trouble.
yeah.
Yeah. So, and we're mandated by law, we have to provide at least one hot meal per day. And so when Hy-Vee was closing down at Christmas time for over a day, we were having to figure out how which wasn't a big deal. We worked around it, but it's just nice with the hospital that they are in the same position we are. They have to have somebody in there to provide meals for the people at the hospital and their employees and stuff. So
Okay.
it's just easier for us.
Too bad we just can't charge like a hotel room.
Well.
Yeah.
Keep
Yeah.
light on.
Yeah,
Yeah, and in all honesty, the money that we make, we have been making, bringing in some good revenue from Webster County just because of their, lack of. So I don't know what that number is off the top of my head. I'm sure, when we bring the money in, you guys can see that, but, like just for instance, there's also because of Webster County's inmate, they have people that have been assigned to do jail time. They don't have the space
Right.
for it. So a lot of them people have been coming up here and serving their time in Webster County just so they can get it off their books and walk away from it. So we got a gal that just came in on Friday to do 10 days. And so that was $500 we're bringing in from Webster County for her. And she has to pay that up front before she can even start serving time in our jail. So,
There you go.
yeah, we make them pay up front,
Yeah, perfect.
especially when it's out of county.
okay.
If they got to pay up front before they can do their time. in our
Good
jail.
idea.
Yeah, it is.
So,
Okay.
All right, well, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
I-
All right, unanimous motion carried.
But I would also keep an eye on that in the next
Yeah.
year,
Yeah, I would say
Just-
here.
see what how 60 work,
mhm.
because like you said, when Pocahontas gets theirs, and if
Yep.
Webster ever gets their new jail, ours is gonna dwindle off the.
Nothing.
Yeah, we will definitely lose a lot of revenue that we've been bringing in the last, 3 or 4 years from housing Webster County inmates.
Mhm.
So,
Good.
All right.
Got some sealed bids, huh?
so as far as I know, and I checked before I came up here, we've only received 3 sealed bids for the squad car that we have for sale. Like we've had it listed for at least 3 weeks and we've listed it on our Facebook page and we've had it in a reminder during that time. So Sandy, if you want to jot this down or whatever, I'll hand it to you when I'm done. So the first one is from Ringwood Motors from Ringwood, Illinois.
Chicago connection.
Yeah,
They love these things.
I know they get one occasionally.
Yep, they've gotten a few of them. I think there's probably through a taxi company, maybe. Looks like their bid is $1,750.
I didn't know if you needed to look at it. Like, you know, we dig it out of it.
The second bid we have is the letterhead says emergency remarketing. It's postmarked Cleveland, Ohio. And this bid says $1,378.18.
Good.
And the final bid comes from David Jones from here in Humboldt. And he's bidding $2,000 for the 2016 Explorer.
Got the 3 bids.
It's the 3, yeah.
Looks like David Jones owns a vehicle.
Nope.
Yeah.
That way.
You know, this was a K9 vehicle, you know, so we did end up finding the seats for it and the inserts and stuff. But you know, we ran it a little longer than what we normally would have just because of all the extra money that goes into upfit a K9 vehicle. And I'm guessing that's part of the reason why we weren't expecting a whole lot.
Well, I'm good, glad you weren't expecting it then.
Yeah.
So it's not a shock.
Do you keep these or do we keep these?
I think I keep them.
Okay, so that's fine. Okay. Okay. And then you'll get a hold of David and,
Yep, I'll make contact with all 3 of them and let the one know, let David know that he got it, and let the other 2 know that they did not.
okay, perfect.
Do we need that in form of motion or just accept that or what?
I was thinking.
I'll make a motion to award David Jones for $2,000, the 16 Ford Explorer.
I'd second.
Okay, we have a motion in a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous, motion carries. Okay.
Thanks, Corey.
Thank you.
Corey.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate
So. Depends on, so.
Yes.
All right.
We're even ahead of schedule. Maybe.
I think I came in earlier. Oh, she came home. It was just, yeah.
And, the picture was so sweet.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, we appreciate it.
Well, when people are praying, it's nice to know that the outcome and. Oh.
I will.
Depends on how much they're.
If it wouldn't.
Yeah. And they can't afford to pay, and so they'll wait and do it.
Trish, I don't know if I made, you might have to share.
Share.
Thank you.
Okay, good morning, everybody. With it being the end of the year, it's time to make the decision about if you want to continue with our so-called wellness program and in the rec center dues. The first page is a copy of the letter that we gave to the employees last year showing what the employee pays and what the county will reimburse them their portion, which is half of a single membership or half of a senior single membership. Page 2 shows the dollar amounts that have been paid out the last 4 years. As kind of expected, this last year was a lot lower than the first 3 years. paid out $3,505 for 16 employees to be members. Shauna did just tell me the end of last week that 2 more from Sheriff's Department just joined. So instead of 16, we're actually at, or maybe 3 more, 19, I don't know, a few more. Who knows why these numbers are down? I know last year Rick suggested maybe when it comes out of your own pocket and reimburse, it's a little bit of a harder hit. And maybe that was the reason. Maybe people were members and not utilizing it and decided not to up it again, but those are the numbers. You know, the first few years, we ranged kind of from 27 to 23 employees taking part in the membership. You know, so I guess my request would be to continue with last year's plan. You're spending about $200 per employee for better physical and mental health. Doesn't seem like it's asking a lot when what's one trip to a doctor or one day's pay, but it's up to you guys. Anybody have any questions?
Well, I think it's good something we can offer the employees myself.
You know, right now, we say we have wellness, you know, we do the flu shots and this and that's really, yeah.
That's all we do, yeah.
So when do we have to notify them?
So it goes from the time you pay your dues until your year is up. You know, before we made people enroll in January or July. Now it's just whenever, and you turn in your
They bring in their receipt and we reimburse them.
Right, right. So, you know, if they don't do it in January and they do it in March, it goes from March to March.
Perfect.
But you can see by the largest payout that, you know, most people did it in January. And I think it's working okay in your department, Trish, for how it's being handled, a lot better than going through payroll and
Going from there.
yeah.
Especially with the funding and all that. It works better to budget for it.
I see I'm the only cheap one with a senior membership.
What?
Hey, we gotta take our delivery to get it.
Yeah. So we'll send out a letter when you guys make a decision.
I think it's a good thing to continue.
Totally agree.
Well, now that we have the option, I mean, if they don't want to participate, I didn't do it last year because I knew I was having my knee redone.
Mhm.
And I probably needed to do it
You might be doing it next year.
next year, yeah, I might need to do it again, so.
I will say that Friday, Paxton's email came out and she is raising the membership between $2 and $4 per month. So I don't know if you guys want to just do half or you want to set a limit or how you want to do it, but it's going to be probably $4 for the family membership, which looks like everybody. So that would be 2 times 12, $24 more for a family membership.
Go half on it. Do we need a motion to?
Wow.
Just keep the same program, so it's a motion.
Yeah, well, keep the same program, pay half.
Yeah. Even with their increase, I mean, it's still half of whatever they are charging
Yeah.
their folks now.
Yeah, it isn't
Yeah.
gonna be amount to that
No.
much.
If they,
$10.
just the way it's been handled.
The last year. All righty.
I'll second Dave's motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous, motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for doing it,
Yeah,
Diane.
We appreciate your work at it. I'll just leave this with you then, so you have it. Okay. Do we get Jane? Yes, please. That's you.
Big Blue. Did you go down there? I'm seeing
Yeah.
pictures of you standing down there hooting and hollering and terrorizing all those Iowa fans.
Yeah, you know.
Had to do it, right? Big win.
It
It
was a
was.
huge win. I couldn't believe it.
Scared me a little bit, but, you know, as far as.
Who
The
is-
offense.
You guys are quick.
We are today.
You are.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen every week. I'm like, whoa, you're ready for me.
So the city of Livermore has acquired these parcels on your second page, and they're just asking for an abatement on the taxes.
So they took another like a vacant.
Yes, so
Lots
these were,
or-
these were places that were abandoned or the people left in, wasn't paying the taxes on that. So on the one they have, well, on all of them, they've gotten the tax sale. So they're technically the owners of it now. And as far as I understand from Janet, they're gonna get them cleaned up so where they can get them to sell them again, to get them back on the tax records.
Okay.
So,
She was here, wasn't she, she was here once before talking about this, wasn't Janet?
Possible.
there's,
wasn't she
yeah,
here?
well, there's been,
Yeah, there's been
They've-
several
they've-
that- They've
yes.
really
Yeah,
done a
they're
good
trying-
job of cleaning,
Yes.
trying to get things cleaned
yeah,
up.
and as far as I understand, I think they've got a property that they're ready to try and sell.
Yeah,
They've got a
they've
place.
moved, had a house brought in and
Mhm.
Well,
put on
and
a foundation.
I'm familiar with most of these, the older houses are actually tearing them down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep,
Mhm.
to hopefully get
They're
something
cleaning up the lot to be able to resell it.
to resell it, get them back on the tax.
So does this
So
mean,
it's, oops, go ahead. No.
I was just wondering, are they, so the city doesn't pay any tax while they own it?
Normally, no,
Nope.
unless you guys don't abate them.
Well, but so they abate, well, the city has ownership of the.
Right,
In
right,
this case, the
right.
property,
Correct,
and then once they can, they would get someone in there that the city would sell them the
correct.
lot.
Yep,
and then-
they'll build a house or bring a house in or get it cleaned up
And
to maybe where a neighbor wants the lot,
Yep.
and then they'll buy the
So whether
lot.
they build a house or not, whatever city
It gets
decides,
back on the tax.
Yeah.
they,
It gets
they
back.
would, they would get at least a lot, if not, hopefully even a house on the lot.
Yep,
back.
yep, and I'm pretty sure the one I talked to Janet and they are gonna tear down and try to get a house in there to sell.
They're
So if you
gonna
add
do
up all three of them, it's only $234.
Yeah, and there was no drainage assessments. or
Right,
anything.
no.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
No, everything else is taken care of on them.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to abate the taxes on these three properties.
I'll
in the city of Livermore.
Second Rick's
Okay,
motion.
we got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
I,
All right, unanimous, carries.
Awesome, thank you. You guys have a good day.
Thank you.
You bet. Now, Randy, just because we're early doesn't mean you get to take more time. How's that? Just be funny. Come on up, Randy.
Everybody is.
I have two things. That I want to go over. The first one is just an update on our comprehensive plan. The committee for that. And we're scheduled to have another meeting this week with our committee on the 7th. And that committee has not met for a little while, so mainly because of harvest. We have a lot of farmers that request that we not do that. We'll be continuing processing and acquiring information and statistics. And basically to, at this point, to revise the land use maps. And so with the information and statistics that we have developed, and some other things that Midas, who's in charge of this, as you recall, has, that probably will be what we're doing on this next meeting. And I gotta say, and I know this is true with a lot of people, this has been a much slower process than what I could imagine. One of the reasons is because when we started this and you approved the hiring of Midas to do this, they had lost a person in their process or in their whatever you call it. And it took them a long time to replace that person. They really did. I don't know why, but so they replaced that person with a young man that had just graduated from Iowa State,
Now he's gone.
and now he's gone.
He's gone already?
He resigned and took a
Some of
job.
that's gone.
He resigned and took a job in Des Moines for FedEx. And so, and with his inexperience, that also is a factor.
Is there a way we can just not have to use NICE? Can we get like legal help on it just to get it done and get it going?
They've already been hired. You approved funding for
Oh,
that.
that's right, that's right. Yeah, I was gonna say this is, yeah.
So with that said, I'm now working with Stacy Lynch, and she has an apprentice with her. And she's a wonderful gal, but she's really overloaded. But still, I'm going to push that we develop by January a draft of what they're going to provide for us. Whether that happens or not, I'm not sure. January and February, I look at working with them and creating that draft and also possibly formatting that. And so I guess you'd say in that draft, there are certain things that are required by law that must be included in a comprehensive plan. I'll give you a copy of this. This is from Iowa State Extension Service. And I'll show you this comes from this booklet here. Okay, and this was actually presented as a PowerPoint at a meeting I went to 2 or 3 years ago. But they refer to these as fact sheets for many things. That one particularly is talking about 13 elements that need to be included in that comprehensive plan. So I'm going to, working with Midas, make sure that these parts are in that plan. And if they're not, I'll address that. As you may recall, I was basically hired as the liaison between our county and Midas to make sure the information was brought to you, and that's why I'm here today. Okay, so it would be also my plan to have something by the 1st of March. And at that point in time, that draft would be then presented back to the committee for review and changes that might be made. And according to the requirements, there would also then be a public hearing so that the public is informed of that plan. And so they have input. Stacy has already contacted the cities and they've indicated that they would like to have representation on one part of this for the zoning map information, and that deals with a buffering area around each city. And I'm not exactly sure how that's written, but it was brought up at one of our previous meetings, and so that's going to be addressed, and I hope people from the cities are represented there. So that's one thing that we'll be doing. We, of course, then after a public hearing, will give time for input from the public or questions, whatever they might have. And then once the document is finalized by the committee, that would be brought to you as the Board of Supervisors, and also given time then for review and possibly changes that you would require. And then when that's completed, the final document is completed with any reviews or any changes, then that would be brought to the board here to be signed and approved. So that's basically the process that we want to complete. I was hoping that this would have been done by this fall, but I'm saying probably spring, late spring, with all those things that are required.
We're not the only one that they're working on.
Oh, I know.
They're hurting for people.
They're slammed. They really are. But at the same token, we need to have this completed, so then we can go on to the, as you recall, the rewriting of our ordinance, our zoning ordinance. And so we never really put a timeline on it for sure. I made some hopeful things at the time that the county hired them to do this. And trust me, they really have been under the gun on many things. And so I'm not giving them, you know, really any guff on this. I know they're slammed, so, but we need to get it done.
We know they're slammed, but we still need to prod them to make sure that they're keeping us in the
Yeah.
forefront.
And I've done that, and I will continue to do that,
Okay, good.
so.
I got a meeting with them later this week. I'll push them a little harder.
Yeah, like I say, with the inexperience of the young man that took over and now, his resignation, and they have had a really tough time of finding somebody to replace him, and I'm not sure they even have yet.
I don't think they have.
I don't-
know.
I don't believe they have.
Get after them, Dave, because it's affected other things too.
Yeah, affect a lot of stuff, but like I said, we're not the only one. They haven't got completed.
I'll be hearing encouraging news at the meeting this week with them to let us know.
Well, yeah, and I'd have to say that the committee members are also frustrated.
I'm sure.
With-
I've
with-
actually talked to one of them and they
Yeah.
share everybody's frustration on the
Mhm.
fact that
I
they
got-
probably should be in the final stages.
We should.
Yeah, I got a call from.
And the other thing is too, you may recall that I thought that we didn't have enough participation on that committee, and that still stays the same.
Yeah.
But we're halfway through or somewhere through the process,
Mhm.
so it's hard for somebody to come in and,
Jump
you know,
But if they
catch
want
up.
to, you're not gonna refuse them if they want to take part.
Absolutely not. So you're all welcome, of course, again. We'll take it, we'll take you, because you're experienced with a lot of these things. So, but I felt that you needed to see this listing, so you have an idea of what should be there. That's my intention is to make sure that that's what occurs.
You know, this, just curiously, this fact sheet. Okay, when it says, I guess it does spell it out, but when it says municipality, it's meaning a city or a county, so this is
Right,
covering both.
Right,
Basically of
right.
the multiple steps that you just discussed.
yeah, and from what I can tell from the old comprehensive plan, I would say that many of those things would have been in there. But that was back in 1995, so the requirements may not have been the same.
Right.
So, I don't know that for sure, but that would be my best guess. Okay,
They've had problems down there keeping people since quite a few years now. When Cliff was director, and then they got Kathy in there as director, and now they got Shirley, and Shirley's been there for going on 30 years, so
long time.
you know what she's doing, but they just, they go up to college and say, can we get somebody part-time, full-time?
Right.
Nobody wants to do it.
I would imagine it's probably, you know, has something to do with the amount of money they can afford to do that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Kind of what it comes down to always.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
They go someplace that pays higher.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's the way this young man that was there, he told me, I'm going to FedEx. He lived in Ames.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to FedEx. I still gotta drive to Des Moines, but it's closer, you know, and probably make more money, whatever he's doing there, so.
Oh, they wanna be where the bigger, we are bigger areas, everybody wants to, everybody wants more things to do.
The next item I have, of course, is the closed session.
We'll probably have to wait till 9:15 for that.
Well, and I asked Trish if John was gonna, because if we're gonna.
We have to have a lawyer.
We have to have a lawyer, so we need to wait for John, and Trish just went and found out he's just finishing up with district court, hopefully.
Okay.
Checked out. Yeah, she was gonna check it out, she's gonna call down those, moving. Okay.
Okay.
I can't provide you any information.
That's
until
fine.
that occurs.
Yep.
Um, Move on to other stuff.
Yep, let's move on to the approve the signing of environmental covenant for Humboldt County landfill.
Okay, we finally,
Oh, boy.
we finally got the document back from the DNR. All the i's are dotted, all the t's are crossed. Everything is finalized. We need now just for the chairman to sign it and have it notarized. And I think I might have to sign it also. I'm not 100%
Yes.
sure. And then we need it, that needs to be sent, or they'll come up and get it from Moore Engineering and they're gonna submit it. So they do the submitting of it. Because they've been kind of in
So
charge.
this is kind of our last step.
Last step, the fence is up, the gate's up, gate's locked. I think I told, Ben Lutz to put up some no trespassing signs. So people know that they're not supposed to go in there,
Mhm.
and we're done.
So this is our last, landfill, the one out past
Yeah.
the curve and,
Out past the curve,
North.
big mound off northeast of town.
okay,
And,
everything else has already reached that state, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, there's John.
There's John.
So. There's just,
So what does it do? It says environmental covenant and this gets,
it eliminates a ton of the testing. They still will come in and test biannually instead of quarterly.
Mhm.
So,
Our list probably goes from like this down.
yeah, it goes from a stack of paper down to maybe 4 or 5 papers.
okay.
Wow,
The
awesome.
reduced cost.
Oh, yeah. Cause the testing, they send that off to a lab and we're spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on testing.
Okay,
And it keeps coming back, oh, you
expensive.
could drink that water if you wanted to,
Yeah,
you know.
so they've got it down to where
Mhm.
cost savings and.
Yeah, we used to run the water out down to the dredge ditch years ago.
Mhm.
And then they,
They made a retention pond.
no, we just capped it.
Oh,
And, the water, like I said, the water was drinkable almost.
Hmm.
But anyway, they
So this is-
kept testing.
very good thing.
Yes, it is.
yes.
Yeah, so,
Well, with all of the good news about the environmental covenant for the old landfill, I'd make a motion that we approve the signing of that environmental covenant for the Humboldt County landfill.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. We have a second. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous, carries. All right. So since you are notary, I can go ahead and sign this now?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
lengthy process.
No kidding.
Well, that didn't go so far. That's good. I think I missed it.
So Dave, we'll just call them and let them stop up, pick it up, because I think they gotta have the original, I think. Maybe. They get a copy on it, sure.
All right. We need to accept and place on file MMP short farm annual update for M&K Olson, number 62732, and Dennis Goodell, number 58859. It's another DNR.
Looks like everything is in order and Mark has got a power of attorney here. I make a motion to accept and place on file the short form for M&K Olson and Dennis Goodell.
Okay,
Second.
we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous motion carries. All right. Can't believe it's December already. All right, there you go. Okay. All right, it's 9:15. So,
All right, I'll make a motion to go in closed session pursuant to the code, 1.5.1, discuss strategy with council matters that are present in litigation.
Or could you,
Okay, good.
I'll second that.
okay, there's a motion and second, any other discussion? Oh, okay, roll call. 9:16, okay.